Hey, this is Justin. Thanks for downloading and listening to the J&J Talk Show. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen or favor our show on Spotify apps or Facebook. You can also listen live on YouTube at the J&J Talk Show.
Trying to make up your mind like you need more time. You've already spent most of mine. Even when your words fail, you try to keep it light. You realize I'm done right. You can be honest. I don't appreciate your lies. It's about damn time you get it right.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the J&J Talk Show here. I'm Justin. Thank you for tuning in wherever you guys are listening from, whether it's on YouTube, which is where we're at live, or if it's on Facebook, which will be posted up a little bit later on after the program, or Spotify, that will be posted up after this program. We thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining us here today. I got a big free show for you today. If another impactful hour of the J&J Talk Show, as episode number later. I'll get to Trey in here in just a minute. Okay, let's go right into things. Let me go ahead, and I want to start off by going over our thanks like I do each and every episode. Okay. Now, I want to remind everyone that everything that all the websites, all the people we thank to make this show presentable is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form or fashion. Okay. I want to make that clear. In order to put this product together, we have to do certain things, and we have to go through certain websites and certain studios and all that stuff. So we are not being paid for it. This is not paid things. We just like to stay humble and kind of we're paying our respects here. All right. So right off the bat, let me start you off with StreamYard. Okay. StreamYard is the studio home of the J&J Talk Show. If you're looking to create your own podcast, video, YouTube video, or even looking for your own virtual business meetings and videos, StreamYard is the place to go. Head on over to StreamYard.com and start making your dreams a reality. Trust me, we've been using it since day one. It's fantastic. Also, let's get into it. Place It. Okay, all of our logos is through Place It. Create your mock-ups, logos, and videos through Place It. The J&J Talk Show is proud to be using Place It to create all of their logos and promotional videos. Place It is by Envato. Head on over to placeit.net for your free trial. Okay. Also, let's get right back into it again. Epidemic Sound, that wonderful entrance music you heard at the beginning of our show. Okay, and you'll hear throughout all of our music today is through Epidemic Sound. Discover world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find your perfect soundtracks and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a licensed music and noise effect link. Check out Epidemic Sound for more information. Also, last but not least, let's get right down into it. Stream Elements. With one click of a button, easily create and start selling your merchandise through Stream Elements. It's that simple. Stream Elements gives you the platform with a handful of objects to sell. Simply upload or create what you want to sell and allow Stream Elements to do the rest. They create the store, they create your merchandise, and they deliver the products and give you your profit. Stream Elements make merchandise simple to sell. Head on over to streamelements.com for more information on that. With that being said, Okay, with that being said, we finish off with Stream Elements. I like to go ahead and invite you over to the J&J Talk Show merchandise page, merch.streamelements.com/JJ Talk Show. Once again, that's merch.streamelements.com/JJ Talk Show. Now I know, okay, the holiday season is coming up. If you're looking to find that perfect present for somebody, Stream Elements right now. Head on over to our merch page and buy yourself some merchandise and give it to your friends or loved ones. Okay, and that's that simple. It's merch.streamelements.com/JJ Talk Show. One last thing here, one last promotion I want to bring up here before we get going. Okay, and I'll be making multiple ones because it is back. Okay, and when I say it is back, I mean TC's Barbecue's back. TC Barbecue is back. For local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky residents only, TC Barbecue is the home of the slow smoked, mouth-watering, and made-to-perfection barbecue, whole and half rack of beef ribs and pork baby back ribs are available on November 24th, a day before Thanksgiving. That's right. If you're interested in enjoying some smoking ribs this Thanksgiving, reach on out to Travis Chappelle on Facebook or check out his Instagram page on Chappelle Travis. Limited time only. Order now. Got to be able to pick it up as well. November 24th, you guys. Okay. Love the ribs. I'm going to work on getting some this holiday as well. Okay. We have a big show for you today. We got 2 hours of continuous. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of breaks. Let me give you that. We are on for 2 hours. We got a lot of things going on, but we got a lot to talk about. Okay. What do we want to talk about? Well, Full Gear was on last night. Okay. I saw the highlights. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I saw the highlights. It was great. Okay. I loved it. We're going to review that. We're also going to review some Survivor Series match cards. Okay. We have Kevin Owens turning heel and attacking Big E. I know Trey's eager to get breaking right down into that. SmackDown on the sides. Roman Reigns crown stealing Xavier Woods, crown. Oh, let's get right into that as well. What about the Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series? All right. Also, I mean, we take a look at Survivor Series. There's a lot of replacements for the elimination tournament for both men and women. Dominic was replaced by Bobby Lashley. Leah was removed. Sami Zayn was removed. Okay, we'll get into that. Okay, first, and then let me bring on Trey. Okay, because we got one special announcement that we're gonna do. Our J&J Talk Show is going to be thrived on today as we honor and celebrate the 16th anniversary of the passing of the late and great Eddie Guerrero, who passed away 16 years ago as of yesterday in one of the biggest tragedies in all of professional wrestling. Okay, we're going to be celebrating that throughout our segment, throughout the entire night show. So we got a lot to cover on. I got to tell you, I do want to before I bring Trey in, I want to say one thing here. Holiday season's here. All right. I mean, whether you're watching sports, whether it's football, wrestling, basketball, hockey, or you're trying to watch holiday stuff, holiday season's here. I was out there doing all my Christmas shopping yesterday, got it all done, and now everyone's set. I do like to do it early. I don't like to wait until last minute. There's a couple more things I want to get, but getting majority of it done yesterday. And while I was out at stores, I got chances to stop and look around, and you see a lot of things that go on. It's crowded. Okay, it's more crowded than your typical weekend, right? So, one thing I want to say to everyone, when you get a chance, we got, it's peak season for stores like Walmart, Macy's, Target, wherever you guys are at. You got employees trying to lay stuff out so you guys could buy. Everyone's scrambling to get all the items that they can. I know right now it's big about the food items. Who wants to buy the biggest turkey for this Thanksgiving? So here's what I want to say to you guys. Stay humble, stay kind, and stay patient, please. Okay. When you guys get a chance, I did this yesterday. I was walking through the store and I find one of the workers, they're putting up the holiday stuff and they got boxes all over the place. I see people pushing the boxes, kicking the boxes out of the way. You know what? I mean, why do we have to cause that much trouble? I simply helped the employee pick up the box and put it back on his cart, and that way he can continue doing his business. When you get a chance this holiday, when you're out trying to buy the perfect gift for that somebody, whether you're at Walmart, Target, whatever store you go to, take some time and thank the employees because they're working the extra long hours and they're putting up with a lot of stuff that they shouldn't have to put up so that they could please you and allow you to buy that stuff. While you're in line and you're trying to rush through everything, stay patient. That's all. That's the biggest thing I could give you this holiday season. Stay patient, stay humble, stay kind to everything that you're doing and everything that around your surroundings, because everyone else is doing the same exact thing. So, anyways, let's get right down into it. That's enough from me. Let me bring in to you my co-host of the evening. Welcome in here, Trey. What's going on, Trey? What an impactful weekend we've had going on.
Right. Very impactful weekend. A bunch of shocks today in football, and we'll get down to it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going down in football. And here's what I have to say about NFL here really fast. Thursday night game sets the tone for how the week is going to be. Okay. And the Baltimore Ravens and Miami Dolphins played. And I have to tell you, I was not impressed about the game. It didn't attract me. As a matter of fact, I didn't watch a single second of it. I didn't even go back and watch the highlights of the game. Miami picks up the victory 22-10. But then that falls into this weekend because look at some of the games that took place. I mean, Baltimore should have won the game against Miami, correct?
Right.
You had Washington beating the Washington football team, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 29-19. You also had let me go back to it. You also have the New England Patriots destroying the Cleveland Browns 45-7. You had the Minnesota Vikings beating the Chargers 27-20. Carolina Panthers and the return of Cam Newton. Okay, he made an impact in Arizona, beating them 34-10. And Green Bay shutting out without Aaron Rodgers, I believe. Was Aaron Rodgers back?
I have no idea, but I heard he was returning this weekend.
So he destroyed, it was a shutout, 17-0. And then, okay, listen, Pittsburgh. I mean, okay, listen, I get that. This is not the first loss that Detroit, this is not the first victory that Detroit is on the official record. But Pittsburgh, without Big Ben because of COVID issues, that's fine. But Pittsburgh and tying with Detroit in overtime, final score 16-16. That all this that we just saw is the conclusion of what has happened over because of Thursday night football.
I was very shocked about that Pittsburgh game because they should have won, even though Big Ben wasn't there. Mason, I did watch some of the game. Mason Rudolph played very well, and I'm shocked that they tied.
Yeah, I mean, we had, I got a chance, and I was at work today, and throughout the rest of this, year, I'm going to be stuck at work. I don't know, sometimes getting off, within maybe an hour just to come on and put the show on. But I mean, I was listening to there was two games I was at on, Tennessee and New Orleans. That felt like a very quiet game, although it was probably the most competitive game out of all the first games of the day. And then the Chargers and the Vikings, and it seemed like Vikings got out to an early lead, and the Chargers just could not keep up with them at the back end. But that kind of resembles in the team. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing to Washington. I mean, let me ask you this: when you think about the Tennessee Titans, and they're the only team that stands out of the division, or out of the AFC that has a better record than anyone else. I mean, but do you really see the Titans contending, being that that Super Bowl look at?
I mean, I kind of see them doing well. I don't see them going to the Super Bowl, of course, but I think they're
But see, I
pretty
mean,
making
every
an
other
impact.
division though, every other division it sits here and they are playing subpar of 500. So I mean, there's a lot going on. A lot of unusual things that we're seeing this year. I don't know if the league just sucks or if there's actually are they that good. And honestly, seeing Tampa Bay being how close they are, Arizona lost their second game. I mean, you look at the Super Bowl, contenders and the Tom Brady and Tampa Bay, and they haven't played to their standard as of yet. Um, so I mean, yeah, I think I said this last week, and I even said this on Thursday. It's any given Sunday, to be honest, about how the NFL could come about. But, anyways, we have a big lineup for wrestling. I want to get into AEW. I didn't watch I didn't watch Full Gear. I saw the highlights, and I'm going to get more into it. But I was very, very pleased with how the show went. I think it blew, the roof off the place in Minneapolis at the Target Center. A lot of great matches coming, especially ones that we anticipated and Miro and Brian Danielson, Darby Allin versus MJF, and then you also got things like, you also have, the main event, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page. A lot of great things. We'll get into that here next segment. But you brought up to something yesterday that I kind of even slipped my passing on, and I thank you for bringing it up. And we're making the show around him here. But the passing of the late and great Eddie Guerrero, what a impact he had on fans, on wrestlers, on even if you weren't a wrestling fan, he impacted you in some way to in the way that wrestling is looked at today.
Right, and he's one of the greatest of all time. And throughout the night, we're talking, see, why he was.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going down for you here on the show. Like I said, we're gonna spend 2 hours and honoring the late and great Eddie Guerrero. Let's go ahead. What we're gonna do is go ahead and step aside here for a second. When we come back, we'll go ahead and get you right into all the world of sports here, okay? And as well as continuing with, the J and with the passing of Eddie Guerrero. So a lot going on. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the J&J Talk Show.
Close your eyes, hear the voice within calling. This heavy load got under your skin, howling. You got the white knuckles holding on it tight, keeping your feelings bottled up inside. Heading for collision and denial. To really live, you gotta die. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the colors, right. Moments pass, make this one count. Untie You're so good at dragging yourself down. Why? Well, there ain't much time left to figure things out. Deep underneath all the layers of your doubts, there's a heart gone out of rhythm in despair. Hell underwater, fighting for it. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the colors around.
Well, when I woke up, she was looking at me. She told me I've been cheating on her in her dream. Lord, it wasn't a thing I could do or say.
Welcome back here on this fine episode of the J&J Talk Show. It is Sunday night, 2 hours with you guys here as we bring you to another in-depth vision of what's going on. Hopefully everyone's having a great night as we start looking past and the afterlife of the late and great Eddie Guerrero. So Trey, we got some pictures here. We're gonna show up. I got a handful of pictures. We're gonna show up throughout the night. Um, but I'm gonna share you about some information. We're just gonna go a little bit and progress over as the night goes. Okay. So Eduardo Gori Guerrero Lanes. I don't know if I said that correctly. That is his entire name. Born October 9, 1967, passed away November 13, 2005. Born in El Paso, Texas. He was graduate. He was in the class of 1985 from Thomas Jefferson High School. He got a athletic scholarship in a for collegiate wrestling in New Mexico Highland University. In 1982, Consejo he joined the Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre as the OG of original Mascara Magica. Then he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling from 1992 to 1996 was the Black Tiger, where in April 8th in 1995 won the ECW championship in a debut match at the three-way dance. So a little piece of what Eddie Guerrero's early life beholds as we share moments. Listen, I mean, we talked about foundations. Okay. I mean, I think it's clear to say that, you had Bret Hart and you had the Hart family coming from the Hart Dungeon, right? All those wrestlers, great wrestlers coming out of there. But, Eddie Guerrero, they started that whole lucha libre, bringing the Guerreros out of there. It was a big family fiesta and definitely started paving ways to wrestling today.
And for people who don't know who Eddie Guerrero's family members are, Chavo Guerrero, Hector Guerrero, those are the only other two that I know. But
yeah, there's a whole list. I don't really gonna know to get into all of them, but it was one big family as well, and it stretched beyond the whole Guerrero family. Talking about paying tribute to Eddie Guerrero. Last night, all AEW Full Gear, if I could say that properly, right?
Yes.
But AEW Full Gear was on last night, and I'm gonna briefly go over the match card with you and kind of explain to you what we saw last night. And I mean, I don't know. Did you get a chance to see the highlights, or was it just me?
I got to watch a couple of them. I did not get to see um the Inner Circle and paying tribute to Eddie Guerrero.
Oh yes. I mean, it wasn't just in the inner circle, but I feel like the highlight moments came out of the inner circle when they were paying tributes. Now the inner circle defeated the men of the year and the American top team. What an epic match. And great. It was a brutal street fight, and Eddie and Chris Jericho, one of the best, really close friends of Eddie Guerrero back in the day, finished his match with a frog splash to end it. What a great match. Here's what I want to bring to the table when we talk about Full Gear here, because I could go through. I mean, we saw a great CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. Kind of reminds me of the Daniel Bryan and Eddie Kingston, and it really got personal. I mean, CM Punk walked away with the victory, and then tried to shake hands with Eddie Kingston. But this is one of the things how I feel we start moving the storyline closer and more in depth, and I see Eddie Kingston work his way to potentially now getting on top. He's had a great match with Bryan Danielson a couple weeks ago. He ended up losing. He calls out CM Punk, lives up to that potential now. Even though he lost, he showed a lot of fans what he's actually made of. I feel like he's gotten a huge push. And that's one thing. We talk about we talk about wrestlers and about getting over to getting over. And you don't need to win a match to get over. And Eddie Kingston, over the last several weeks, he's made his statement, and the match that he's put in the storylines that he's telling inside the ring. Apparently between Eddie Kingston and CM Punk, this was a 15-year, 15-year storyline. But
Right.
at the end of the day, you don't need to win the match in order to get over on the match. You just need to have a good match, and the fans will get you over. And they both, went back and forth with each other. But Eddie Kingston, even though he don't walk away, he showed a lot. I'm a bigger fan of Eddie Kingston now than I, was before. But this, I think questions, CM Punk is still finding his way in the locker room. Is he even wanted back in wrestling? A lot of people say that he's not wanted in the locker room anymore. He's washed up. You don't get to spend 7 years out of the industry because you had this whole hissy fit and then come back in out of nowhere and be at the top of the food chain.
Right. Speaking of Eddie Kingston, I had no idea who Eddie Kingston was going into him facing Bryan Danielson, and after the two matches, I'm a fan.
Right. No, I was the same way too. I didn't know who Eddie Kingston was either until he found, like I said, here's my story with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston, I listened to the Friday episode of the Busted Open podcast where I heard Eddie Kingston come on the air and talk with Mark Henry and had an emotional real life, realistic moment on Busted Open. Then at that moment, knowing that he would face Bryan Danielson at that night at Rampage and this was this, I believe this was the time that SmackDown had that 2 hour and the extra half an hour, I believe. And this was something that really, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this one. A great match inside the ring. And Eddie Kingston won me over just with that match. Now, then he comes and has a great match with CM Punk and wins me over as well. I love
Right.
Eddie Kingston. I'm a big fan. Hopefully, at this time, hopefully it pays off. Another thing that pays off is when, um, listen, I don't know if you've been watching AEW the last couple of episodes, but Jungle Boy, I don't, man, I'm missing out. I watch AEW from here and there, but this last week, Jungle Boy had a great match in on Dynamite, had a great match on Rampage, and then had a fantastic match on against the what was it? He teamed up Drastic Express, teamed up with Christian Cage, taking on the Super Click with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and they had a wonderful match. Another great, fantastic match that took all around the ring as well. It was nonstop. Listen, you talk about the fans getting behind somebody. Jungle Boy, when is he gonna get that push?
I don't know. I mean, I started watching Jungle Boy when he had that. I think he won a battle royal or something, and he earned himself a title match against Kenny Omega.
Right.
That was my first time experiencing him.
I love Jungle Boy. I love what he represents, and I love what he does. And the way that he carries himself in the ring, he puts in the extra work. What a great performance from him. A lot of key components. Lucha Brothers retaining their tag titles. MJF pulled away with the victory against Darby Allin. Um, so the Inner Circle won their match. Punk won his match. Brian Danielson defeating Miro, and what another epic match. I loved the AEW Women's Championship going into the bout. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, holding a retaining title against Tay Conti, which I guess only see the feud going more. What about and then a great main event, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page. And, I know this has been a feud that's been working on for the last couple years. It seems like every time Adam Page has gotten himself a chance at Kenny Omega in one of the championships, he ends up losing. Now, I've been hearing the rumors about, obviously, they broke out, but the rumors were, okay, let's continue this rivalry. Well, no, you put the title on him, and I think it's a perfect time to do so.
I agree. I think Kenny Omega had long enough title reign, and Adam Page, but definitely after last night's match, he definitely deserved it.
Yeah, one thing watching Adam Page's career, he's definitely grown and matured as a professional wrestler over the last year, and this year seeing him all put that together. The other thing, he made it very clear. Listen, the Young Bucks, if you're going to interfere, I will interfere in this match again. I will take you out personally. But what a great show from AEW's Full Gear. I'm excited to see what comes up. We actually have a great title match. I think it was for the TNT title match coming up this Wednesday with the return and the debut of Jay Lethal. I know a lot of people are excited about that. What does Jay Lethal have to bring when it coming over to from Ring of Honor to AEW?
He's got to bring it all. He's got to show that he's the best, and I'm pretty sure he can prove that. I've watched him for many years down in Impact Wrestling. So I'm excited to see him.
Right. Well, I mean, I know he's definitely changed since Impact Wrestling, but you're right. I used to watch him all the time when he was with Impact Wrestling with TNA, right? He was all
Mhm.
that next macho man type persona, and like the Randy Savage, and he played it very well. Then he gets off the screen because remember, not a lot of places get Ring of Honor, especially out in the West Coast. So they get them at a later date. So when he goes to Ring of Honor, he doesn't, he falls off my radar a little bit. But it's exciting to see him back in action. This is going to be a huge statement coming into Wednesday's Dynamite and taking on, for the TNT Championship, because this you're representing Ring of Honor, who went recently hiatus, and trying to rebuild themselves. This is going to be a opportunity not only for Jay Lethal, but for him and these other wrestlers are depending on him to bring in the in-ring performance, so that people like the Briscoe brothers could have an opportunity at AEW. So if you're looking at, okay, well, where right now WWE is kind of scarce. Hey, do we want to go to WWE or AEW? And right now they're giving the opportunity. Tony Khan's giving the opportunity to Jay Lethal, but he's also making that impact for the rest of the Ring of Honor roster that potentially wants to come over.
And no hating on WWE. I'm a big fan of WWE,
Well,
but
no,
I was
absolutely
just talking
not.
to with Jake yesterday, and I had told him I'm so glad Jay Lethal did not sign with WWE, because I was terrified that they would ruin him, and I'm just so happy that he's with AEW.
Right. I mean, listen, there's no disrespect to WWE. I still personally
Exactly.
feel that the WWE is the place to go and is the final
Hmm.
stepping stone. I mean, yes, AEW has much more dream matches that you want to pursue on. That's great. But WWE in my books has always been and will always be that um that top dog, stepping stone. You want to still main event at a WrestleMania under my books. At least that's according to me.
Right.
And but there's a lot of opportunity going on with AEW right now, so I can't tell you not to go. If he's getting an opportunity to go make a name for himself, and you take it one step above, then that's what they have to do, and that's what I want to see happen. So if that means Jay Lethal is going to have a bigger and much better success at AEW, because let's face it, Karen, they just got done releasing a handful of guys, right? Some guys we
Hmm.
could talk about, Karrion Cross, for example, Keith Lee, for example. Two big guys in this roster that has great amount of potential, but the WWE underutilized that potential and they ruined it. So being able to being able to sit there and have that ability to be able to have that ability to come over and do all this stuff with AEW is the way to go in my long books.
Yes, I agree with you.
So anyways, what a fantastic AEW Full Gear we had last night. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, you can watch highlights on YouTube, or I really encourage you. And I think the through Bleacher Report, the pay per view is still available to watch. We have quite a ways to get going here on this 2 hour episode. We'll get more about what's going on in the WWE Survivor Series, WrestleMania 38. Tickets are available now. Head on over to SeatGeek and book all your packages through WrestleMania 38. That is going to go through and go big. Listen, I want to go. I mean, there's a lot of great names. It's in Dallas, Texas, at the AT&T Stadium. I encourage, if you get a chance, to head out to WrestleMania, because it's a special 2 nights. So head on out to SeatGeek and take a look at that. We will be right back. When we come back, we got a lot more to cover right here on the J&J Talk Show.
Where is the line between dreaming and feeling blue? It's 4 o'clock in the evening. I haven't left my room, but the truth is, if I'm honest, I feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of those crazy people? Should I stay here or should I let go? Pull the sheets over my head, hoping change is gonna find me. You don't have to remind me I'm doing nothing at all. I'm ruminating on a blank wall. I feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of those crazy people? Should I stay here or should I let go? Can you tell me what I need? Can you tell me what you see in me? Can you tell me what I need? Can you tell me what you see in me? I just feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of
Oh, I can't let him take my soul. I can't let him take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let him take my soul. Nah, nah,
Alrighty,
nah, nah,
everyone.
no.
Welcome to the J&J Talk Show.
But he hit the fan when I got him down at the bench. When I took a break, I had to leave and go get cleansed. God forgive me for all my sins. I can't say these cause my last name ain't Kent. Cooking on the stove, that's the way he paid the rent.
And as we celebrate the life of Eddie Guerrero, 16-year anniversary. Trey, I remember talk about this match, and there's so much more to talk about with Eddie Guerrero, but you talk about this match with Brock Lesnar.
This is definitely my favorite match that he's ever had. And besides your favorite match, I mean,
I'll get
Brock
into some
Lesnar.
other memorable matches, but yeah, Brock Lesnar was an ultimate testimony.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing with Brock Lesnar. Okay, I mean he goes on. I mean, okay, listen, Eddie Guerrero goes on to win a lot of great titles. As we talk about it here, and kind of went through, kind of took you back. Remember, so you got to remember he also had a good run at WCW. WCW brought in the cruiserweights. He was in and out for a couple years, 1989, 1991, 1995 to 2000. In 1996, he had his first major feud, but with DDP to become the U.S. champion at Starrcade. I mean, which really elevated him moving forward. 1998 to 2000, he created LWO, right, Latino World Order, and against to face the New World Order because he wasn't getting accepted from Eric Bischoff. So Hector Garza and Damian, he ended up. They ended up getting feuded with like Ray and Billy Kidman. Listen, WCW when he started feuding with Rey Mysterio, that I feel like that was one of the biggest moments that Eddie Guerrero had in professional wrestling. That's when that's when a lot of his great matches took off. That's when everything fell through. But then you know, he gets in a car wreck. That was 1999's tragedy,
My,
right? At the end of New Year's in 1990, it was New Year's 1999. He gets into a car wreck,
I had
and
no idea about that.
well, that's what started his whole addiction,
Oh,
the medication addiction. Um, when he came back in the middle of '95, he returned to create the Filthy Animals with Ray and Conan and WCW. Then he signs with WWE in 2000. He joined the team with Benoit and Malenko and Saturn, and that's how he made his WWF career. And they ended up feuding with the New Age Outlaws. But remember when he had that car accident in '99. He comes back, joins WWF, and then shortly after joining WWF and starting to feud, he ended up um, breaking his elbow off of a frog splash, which put him out of action for a while. So that's kind of the start of some of the down spirals with his career. And now it picks back up too. We talk about all the success he did have, but we'll get into that in just a little bit because he comes back, and this is when things really start. So we'll share with that throughout the rest of the program. We got 2 hours coming to you. We got the bottom half of the hour, then we got the top half coming up here. I got an announcement coming up here at the top half. Something Trey knows about. He got them earlier this week, where I'm excited. We'll talk a little bit about that. But let's get right into SummerSlam, right? Or not SummerSlam, I'm sorry. Survivor Series. Well, the reason why I want to talk about this is because we watch Raw and SmackDown. And let me be honest, when I saw Raw, I actually watched Raw. I mean, it was I was there, I was watching it, but I wasn't really watching it. There were
my.
some decent matches. I love Liv Morgan being, winning the Fatal 5-Way. Really got her a push out of it. A lot of interesting thoughts. I mean, you talked about this on this program about the possibility of Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch feuding. How much more does that become a reality now?
I think her winning this Fatal 4-Way solidified the match.
Fatal 5-Way. 5-way. It
Yeah,
was a 5-way match.
5-Way.
Okay. But listen, that's what we've been seeing Bianca Belair, and we've been seeing Becky Lynch up at the top of the food chain for quite some time. I know we got Queen Zelina, but you're not gonna have 2 feet. If you're trying to put Becky Lynch as a heel, that just ain't happening. I really diverse though, because so on SmackDown, and we're going to jump back and forth. SmackDown, Charlotte Flair addresses a Twitter post about Becky Lynch, and she basically says, she calls out. I mean, you watch SmackDown. She
Yep.
calls out Becky Lynch and saying that although you had some great moments, you still are not better than me. And a matter of fact, when Charlotte Flair, it wasn't a prediction, it was a spoiler, like Paul Heyman will say. When Charlotte Flair beats Becky Lynch at Survivor Series, it would be Becky.
Oh
And then
yeah,
she goes
but
on with all the stuff. And one of the biggest she claimed was at the very end was she came back too soon from her childbirth. This led to Becky Lynch responding to Twitter, okay, about this. Did you hear what she had to say?
I don't think
She
I
told
did.
her, she told her, she basically, I'm not going to use the words. Becky Lynch called Charlotte Flair plastic,
Yeah,
fake. And now you see this feud arise. I feel like ever since the drop title. Okay, so here's the thing. Charlotte Flair, regardless if this was a feud and whether this was intentional or not, Charlotte Flair dropped the title, trying to hand it to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch then shoved the title, tossed her title to her, Then we see this feud now on this past week of WWE, where they're calling each other out. Now,
I
I've already given you my prediction on what should be happening, and regardless if we're seeing it or not. But so Charlotte has thrown something back. They need to put something out this week that is intensifying this match. Here's my thing. So Becky Lynch was on an interview earlier this week, and she mentioned scenarios of trust. And that's what really shocked me. If these are your two top stars in WWE women's division right now, these are two women that are going to do business together. And I was listening back this over the weekend, and it made sense to me. In the professional wrestling, the number one rule, okay, no one will get in the ring with somebody unless they could trust them.
Right.
Becky Lynch came out in an interview saying that she does not trust Charlotte Flair. Now, that could go respond to being difficult. I know that that's been a word that's been coming up, that Charlotte's been difficult the last couple weeks. But my one out of the entire interview, I heard this trust issue. And I'm like, trust is the number one thing that both opponents need to have. I need to be able to trust you in the ring to be able to carry me. So you're not going to drop me on my head. If you just don't care, or you don't trust, you can't trust somebody, you're going to sign, you're signing yourself up for someone to get hurt.
Exactly.
So for me, I don't know if this feud is real or not. I don't care if it's real or not. Becky Lynch says that they haven't talked in a while. If I was Vince McMahon, I would bring both women in, and I'd say, listen, I don't care if you like each other, but this is good for business. This is going to make money, and if you want to make money, you guys are going to put things aside, work with each other, and then once this feud's done, whether it's now or at WrestleMania, then you guys could go off to you doing whatever you guys want to do on your own brand. But until then, I don't care if you guys like each other or hate each other on Earth. Make us money and make money while doing it, and stop playing this petty game.
I mean, I agree with you. Vince McMahon needs to have a talk with these two. Now, they could go into this match, and Becky could be like, hey, I don't trust this chick. What is she going to do to me? Is she going to, drop me on my head? Is she going to hurt me in some way? How am I going to react to that? I definitely think somebody needs to sit down and talk with the two ladies.
Well, I mean, you're in a professional business, and that's the number one rule, right? Is when you guys need to hash it out. Like I said, I don't care if they like each other. I don't care if they ever speak to each other again. But you have an opportunity to make a lot of people some money, especially themselves. And at the end of the day, if you have to worry about trust issues in carrying yourself in the ring, then you're going to start questioning, well, I'm not going to want to put over somebody. Okay, what happens if Charlotte wants to do a drop kick and Becky doesn't want to sell that drop kick? You just set yourself up for such a terrible match. And that match, you're going to lose. It's going to hurt somebody.
Oh, yeah.
In the end. But I mean, this is an exciting match because we're, even if this is not real, social media has made this real. Becky Lynch and her reports, Charlotte Flair and her calling Becky Lynch out, they have made this as real as possible. And this is something that is selling. I think this is going to be a main event. The other thing is that I would also sit down and let them listen. Okay, Becky Lynch, what do you want to say to Charlotte? Charlotte, what do you want to say to Becky Lynch? All right, that's said and done. I mean, at the end of the day, also, it's a job.
Yeah.
There's been people I work with, that I don't like, but it's a job, and they may not like me. Let me use that old analogy. I got, I got people that are not on my Christmas list, and there's people that I know that I'm not on their Christmas list. But if we got together and we did business together, they would talk to me.
Right.
I mean, that's just, it comes down to the business aspect. And it's great talk, but I'm a little concerned to how they're going to execute this match come Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm worried about how they're gonna coexist. Like, are there gonna be stiff shots, or is it gonna go right down to how it's supposed to go? And
Right.
I don't think this match is gonna be won by pinfall. I think it's gonna come down to maybe a no decision, because it doesn't make sense to have Becky Lynch no lose, and it doesn't make sense for Charlotte to lose. So
Right.
we're about to
Well,
find out.
I mean, we talked about, I believe, I don't know how much we mentioned this last week about the possibility of, Sasha Banks getting involved, or the return of, Bailey, coming back again, and setting, a possibility of the four horsewomen battling each other at WrestleMania. Which is a whole nother conversation we're going to get into later on in our show. But yeah, whatever future it is, I don't know. That's also one thing I like right now. We talked about predictability, right? I mean, I don't want to be able to predict or project what the outcome is going to be. I want us to be spontaneous and continue to like be surprised, right? I don't want to know how the match is going to happen. I just want to see it happen, because I mean, when you watched AEW Full Gear last night, you didn't know what was going to happen,
Exactly.
and that's what you need. I didn't know Jay Lethal. There was no rumors or Twitter reports that Jay Lethal. I mean, I know that there was rumors, but that was your generic rumors that everyone's talking about. They kept everything under the table, and so that's what I want to see. I mean, I want to keep thinking that they hate each other to the guts, but yet again, I'm worried about their safety, because if it is as any true it as it is, I mean, maybe they're just selling it off. Maybe they're buying into it, and they're buying, selling the fans the fact that they maybe hate each other. Now, that's fine. I mean, they could hate each other, but like I said, when it comes down to business, when it comes down to in-ring performance, you have to be able to carry each other as well.
Right.
We're talking about more SummerSlam stuff, Survivor Series stuff. SummerSlam. Shoot, I'm still back in SummerSlam.
Wrong pay-per-view.
It is. But we talk about Survivor Series coming up. One thing I want to also bring up to a front here, is that you announced last week that the WWE announced their 5-on-5 men and women elimination matches. Well,
Yep.
I feel this is where it gets to me. Bobby, I mean, and we talked about this throughout the week. Dominic gets replaced by Bobby Lashley. It wasn't
Yep.
announced. It was announced, Adam Pearce comes out and tells Dominic, say, listen, you haven't won a title yet, but you could earn a chance to be by beating your opponent. Bobby Lashley comes out and squashes him. So that's one replacement. Jeff Hardy on SmackDown beats Sami Zayn and knocks him out of the elimination match. And then after a great and amazing performance by Aaliyah gets knocked out because Sonya Deville says, no, I've just been informed that you're not allowed to be in, that you have to be removed, which I think is completely bullcrap, because she had one hell of a match back on Friday in the 6-woman tag match. She pinned Natalya, and she won her debut match also. and to see her be removed from the women's elimination match, I think is just ridiculous.
And just think about it. Pinning Natalia, one of the most decorated female wrestlers there is. You pin her, and then your boss comes up and says, "Hey, you're out of this match." Imagine how heartbroken she was. She didn't deserve that.
No, I mean you saw it right in her face. That was an amazing match she had, and truly great in ring ability for what she put out there. Okay, I really enjoyed it, but I mean she deserves to be in there. I mean, no, now don't get me wrong. I mean, there's no Natalia in there, and I don't know what SmackDown has in plan because they will replace her at one point. Um, but will it be Naomi? Will it be Natalia? I mean, or will they find Aaliyah come back in? You know, it's something that I don't. I mean, okay, I can understand. This storyline that Aaliyah is getting herself into. Maybe, hopefully, it drags out a little longer and we can see it develop. Compared to what we're seeing now, hopefully they don't just ignore and say, "Okay, listen, you're out of it. Oh well, we're gonna move on from you." She deserves to be in the Survivor Series match. But I could see because you have people like Natalia, you have people like Naomi who are not representing SmackDown that probably should be representing SmackDown.
And it's like, I just literally just thought about this in my head, like, just now. So I have 4 people who could potentially replace her. Naomi,
Okay.
Natalia,
Yeah.
Sonya Deville, and who was the last one? Maybe it was 3. So what if Sonya Deville makes the four people fight, and Sonya Deville comes out and says, "Hey, you all are eliminated. I'm gonna take over this spot, and we're gonna win this match." I don't
Right.
see that
Well,
happening, but you never know.
here's what I want to portray at. She has gotten away from the in-ring competitive for a reason, and the reason behind that is because of injuries and whatnot. Now, I don't know if she's cleared to wrestle, but she didn't make an appearance or an attempt to wrestle back when she had to face Naomi back on a couple weeks ago, a month ago. No, she had. I feel like Sonya Deville is that one that's going to do it her way, and if not, she's going to ruin your life. And
Right.
because Naomi, and I feel like maybe it has to do with a little bit of Naomi, but because Naomi was part of the 6-woman tag match, and Naomi ended up getting involved and attacking getting hitting Natalia for Aaliyah to pick up the pin. Maybe that has something to do with it, but I just don't see Sonya Deville yet. I mean, if she's going to come back and make her in the ring, I feel like she's going to build it up a little bit more. And then I also think it maybe be at WrestleMania if that's something that she wants to do. But I feel like she's that heel manager. And that's what that heel manager does is go out there and put out for all this other stuff, and try to ruin other people's lives. I mean,
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. Now, I mean, take a look at Sami Zayn's situation. He was trying to insert himself as captain of Team SmackDown. It didn't turn out right. A matter of fact, Jeff Hardy ended up beating him because Sami Zayn decided to complain about it. So, I mean, and so Sami Zayn's out. I mean, what's the idea? Why even sit there and announce your 5 if you're just going to replace people to begin with?
I don't know why they're doing this. No, I guess it's about who's the better show. They have to make
I
their
understand it's about who's the better show, but you could have. I mean, just imagine what type of push you have with Aaliyah coming into
right.
this. just imagine, I mean, how big of an opportunity this comes out of Dominic. And I understand that. I mean, listen, I understand as much as anyone. Dominic has not earned an opportunity, especially the way that he's been playing or performing the last couple of weeks. He hasn't picked up any victories. So I understand this much about him not deserving an opportunity. But then why don't you just, instead of Bobby, I mean, are you really going to sit there and have Bobby Lashley have a feud with Dominic? No, I don't. I think this is a one-time deal. And why even have a squash match with Dominic and Bobby if you weren't going to have a feud?
I mean, I guess that's a way to make Bobby Lashley look good going into
but he looks good
Survivor
regardless.
Series.
Okay, I mean, just because he lost against Big E, or not Big E, I'm sorry, just because he lost against Goldberg does not decredit. I mean, he's still Bobby Lashley. I mean, listen, you should have just announced him to begin with instead of Dominic. And this whole conversation of, oh, is it time for Dominic and Rey Mysterio? What does this match have to do with that? Rey Mysterio didn't get involved.
That's true.
Dominic doesn't want Mysterio to get involved in his match. So tell me exactly, what does this squash match have to do? I mean, the only thing that I'm thinking of after seeing this match and after seeing the reaction of Rey Mysterio defending his son, maybe Dominic doesn't want to be defended. But then you're turning Dominic into a heel not wanting to be defended. And if you're going to go down the route of having Dominic and Rey Mysterio potentially having a rival, wouldn't you want Rey Mysterio to be that heel? Or is Dominic going to be that heel?
I think Dominic is. No, Rey Mysterio's, as far as I've ever seen Rey, I've always seen him as the good guy. Now, the ultimate underdog. And they have to make Dominic the heel
Okay.
to get over, I think. Because,
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was wrong saying that. But my point is, though, I mean, unless you're ready to start pushing that factor. Because the thing is that in a month from now, I'm not going to remember the squash match that Dominic had. I'm not going to remember the segment that Rey Mysterio stood up for Dominic. So you need to start painting that picture now. And honestly, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the Dominic and Rey Mysterio match. Okay, but here's my final thoughts on that. That needs to be a WrestleMania. You need to push that to WrestleMania. Not now. Push it for WrestleMania.
I mean, if they're gonna make Dominic the heel, he's got to start. He has to start getting more of an attitude towards him. Start, winning.
Well, it's not. Here's the thing. I mean, you could have such an attitude. You need to start your attitude, and you need to pecker up. And I think that if you're going to start this feud, you wouldn't have Dominic win until he beats Rey Mysterio. And then that kind of starts his uprise on that heel character. Maybe he could take the mask of Rey Mysterio and wear the mask. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, now we're going to get a little too deep into it, but I mean, that's one thing to talk about. But overall, listen, I definitely am not a fan of how WWE booked the 5-on-5, both men and women. I'm also not a fan on how WWE, booked, are changing them throughout the week. I'm not buying into it. And when I'm not buying into it, it's kind of, I don't know if anyone else is buying into this as well.
Or you lose interest in it.
Yeah.
At least I do.
So at least, I don't know. I mean, WWE, I mean, still, listen, you're selling me on Survivor Series as well. Right? I mean, you got Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. You also got Roman Reigns and Big E. You got the 2 5-on-5. You're supposed to get Arcade Bro and the Usos. I don't know about they didn't promote Shinsuke versus Damian Priest. So with 1 week left, we should hopefully see a little bit more coming up.
Hopefully.
We still got a lot. We got another hour of you pure entertainment coming up here on the J&J Talk Show. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll cover up and more of the career uh, of Eddie Guerrero, as well as more of the career about other things. Big E turning heel, Jeff Hardy defeating Sami Zayn. Talk about a little bit of WrestleMania coming up. WrestleMania tickets are on sale. Stay tuned. You're listening to the J&J Talk Show. Welcome back here on the J&J Talk Show. I'm Justin. Trey's is tuning in also. Listen, let's talk about this again. TC Barbecue is back. TC Barbecue for local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky residents only. Okay, it's a home. TC Barbecue's home for slow smoked, mouth-watering, made to perfection barbecue. Whole and half rack of beef ribs and pork baby back ribs are available on November 24th, day before Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's correct. Day before Thanksgiving. Okay. If you're looking to enjoy some smoking ribs this Thanksgiving, I know I am. Reach out to Travis Chappelle on Facebook or check out Chappelle Travis on Instagram. Limited time ordering only. Order now. Get your smoked ribs early. You got to be able to pick them up as well. Trey, we got this interesting playlist here that I'm bringing up. What do you think about that? Hold on. I don't hear you. You're on mic. You're on mute. You muted yourself, sir.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah, that's better.
I was saying I'm not really into the music, but it's alright.
You know, I'm not into it that much as well, but I mean, I gotta play it safe than sorry, to be honest. So,
Yep.
Yeah, you listen. It's better than nothing, to be honest. I mean, I know we could play videos, but I guess I gotta put you to work to do on that. All right, you know what? Listen, I think it's time to talk a little bit more about everything that Eddie Guerrero was going, celebrating the 16th anniversary of Eddie Guerrero. Here, So, he makes his way into WWE in 2000 with Benoit, Malenko, and Saturn, right? Um, he he fused with the New Age Outlaws, breaks his elbow, splashes up. This is when he starts getting into the actual character side of Eddie Guerrero, because then he ends up getting into a relationship with China. Um, he ends up getting a relationship with China. Uh, that ended up winning him some titles. And as a matter of fact, this is this good storyline that gets him to win. That China wins the IC title, and then Eddie Guerrero pins China to win the IC title. Once that starts happening, things starts going astray. Eddie's got cheating on China with the Godfather's pimps. I don't want to call the other pimp hose, right? Ladies, and that's the turn of Eddie going heel. Okay, and that's the start of his addiction. He steps away, comes back, feuds with RVD, Benoit, a little bit with Stone Cold, but this was at the same time Stone Cold went on that little hiatus ride also
Oh,
when he stepped away from the business a little bit.
he looks super
2000,
young.
that was back with WCW days when he had a lot of hair and Dan Malenko there. Oh, that's a great picture. And then he ended up coming back in 2002 to 2004, having feud with the Los Guerreros, right? We just showed this picture here, but Los Guerreros. Oh no, not that one. I'm sorry, wrong ones. That was with Rey Mysterio. Los Guerreros, Chavo Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero, right? Angle teamed up and faced feuds with Angle and Benoit, Edge and Mysterio. 2003, he defeats Ultimo Dragon and Billy Gunn to become U.S. champion. Okay, that's kind of where he brings out the lie, the cheat, the steal persona from him, right?
You're right.
Um, and in the 2004, right? We talked about this. We showed this here, but he ends up beating in 2004. He ends up beating Brock Lesnar, but not without the help of Goldberg, right? To win the
Right.
WWE Championship. That was pretty fired up as well. Um, he becomes champion. Has some great matches with JBL and Booker T. Don't forget, remember that Texas Bull Rope match that he had with JBL
Yep.
back at the Great American Bash. Um, so he gets that. That's how the title gets away from him because um, they don't like that. They don't like the outcome of that match, so they reversed it. And then that's when they get into the feud of Rey Mysterio and
Dominic.
ultimately Dominic. Yeah, the whole Godfather and parental rights and everything like that. That was a fun feud that took a long time to tell. It was two great friends in ring action. To bring a kid involved, I think this was the first time they actually brought a child involved. There was a lot taken out of Vicky Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero having to do this. I remember hearing stories back on this one where this scared Eddie Guerrero. This moment right here that you see, this scared Eddie Guerrero more than scaring Dominic, because he had to be this evil guy in front of his godson.
Right.
But some great feuds here, and then after this one, I just want to lead up to this one. He leads into this big Batista, right? He ends up getting in a
Batista.
feud with.
Yeah.
That was the last big feud. As a matter of fact, before his passing, we take a look at this one. This was the picture of his last match. I remember this
Wow.
last match. I watched this last match.
Yep.
It was with Mr. Kennedy, and he cheated to win this match. And he was supposed to get a title match for the World Heavyweight Championship, because here's what ended up happening. Okay, from my understanding, Eddie Guerrero, when he won the WWE Championship, he was at the top of his peak. They took it away from him because of his addiction. Say, hey, listen, clean up. Once you start showing yourself you're getting clean again, we'll put it back on you. They wanted to put it back on him. So this was at the moment where things were going great for him. He was actually going to get the title back again. And then, this unfortunate tragedy of him passing away. And then listening to stories and documentaries about this, Rey Mysterio side of things, Chris Benoit, hearing that, Edge and on that edge. But Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero goes to doing workouts every morning. Chris is downstairs in the lobby waiting for him. Eddie goes to the hotel room early. Chavo gets called to the room. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. What a terrible moment. For the life of Eddie Guerrero, but what a significant way it changed in a lot of people's eyes in professional wrestling.
And I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite things Eddie Guerrero did. It was actually in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the what's it called, the U.S. Bank Arena at that time. But he was there. He was feuding with Kurt Angle. He comes out and he steals all of Kurt Angle's stuff, his wheelchair, um, Kurt Angle's medal, his little plaque with his championship, and he starts like trying to sell all of Kurt Angle's stuff to the audience that bidding on
Right.
it. And I love how Eddie, you know, cheated to win. It just made it
Right.
so funny to watch.
Well, let's not forget. Here's another great moment. Talking about Eddie Guerrero, here on the J&J Talk Show, talking about celebrating his life. Um, let's not forget about. Remember when he feuded with the Big Show?
Yes.
Remember he gave the Big Show the runs, the diarrhea runs. He had to take because of the burritos, and he put medicine, the whatever he put in the burritos, and it caused him to take shits, and oh my goodness.
I loved it.
Um, I mean, like that was just fun times, and there's just no other times for him. I mean, he was a character inside the ring, he was a character outside the ring, but he was also a passionate, loving person. He cared for each and every one of the athletes going out there and wrestling with. He loved the business so much. He would be the first person in there, last person to leave. From stories that I hear, I mean, he would even help the crew set up if he could.
Right.
I mean, he was always hands on. He was learning everything as you could do. Um, you know, I mean, he really paved ways to, for the cruiserweight division. I mean, like I said, he wasn't your big build. I mean, he wasn't no Batista type, Triple H type body build. He was a younger built guy who, had injuries and went through the pain, but he worked his ass off to get to where he was at, and he earned every single title opportunity he got. Had some amazing feuds. I mean, you talked about loving the one with Brock Lesnar. I mean, that was a great one. That was really the obstacle hurdle to get him over. Um, you know, I mean, I agree with you. With the relationship with China, I think that gets overlooked so much, but that really brought a character out of him, and you saw that character afterwards, and then you see him in the Los Guerreros, where he really starts implementing that line, that cheating, that stealing persona, and then you get that hate, after the tag team titles, and after with Eddie Guerrero, you start seeing his feud. With the whole the writing, I mean, remember Vince McMahon was in one of those pimp cars too.
Yep.
um, but coming to the pimp cars. Remember, I mean, okay, Eddie Guerrero versus John Cena in the backstage street fight.
Right.
They
That was
they
great.
implemented the street fight. Great matches to see from Eddie Guerrero here, as we celebrate his life.
And it's like
Um,
I'm a car guy. I love cars.
mhm,
I enjoyed
yeah.
every time Eddie came out with his lowriders. My thing is he's been gone for so long. He passed away, unfortunately. Where are those cars? We might
So
not
I mean,
never know.
I don't know. I liked, this was also a time period. Like, remember Deuce and Domino came out in cars like that? But
Yes.
I remember like this is a time frame that WWE was willing to put in the extra money to total cars and all that stuff. I mean, how
Right.
many times have you seen them, smash cars and all that stuff? I mean, he went through windshields, just to have a match with John Cena. This was a great time. So, um, but we still have some more stories to share here as
Yep.
the J&J Talk Show continues. While we talk about this, and as we continue to talk about, I want to bring up this is I'm out a little past the half of the hour here, but hey, you got something earlier that we're excited about. You reached out to a promotion that's coming up in the town, local community wise, but we're set to advertise here. NFW is making their way to Covington November 27th, and I have the 21st on the phone. Lord, let me get the number right. Because that's like 2021. Hey,
It's 2
production
days
here.
after Thanksgiving. Get
It
it
is
correct.
2 days after Thanksgiving, November 27th, 2021. NFW is doing a live promotion in Covington, Kentucky. And they're going to be inducting the Monster Abyss.
If you want more
Into
information,
yeah,
go to TikTok, go to Instagram, go to Twitter. I
we're
post all
all
that
over
stuff.
that. Also, if you want to purchase tickets now, tickets are available. It came in late last week at nfwwrestling.com. Once again, that's nfwwrestling.com. All I could tell you, Monster Abyss, great guy. Love watching him wrestle. Love watching him do what he did. Love the monster brawl matches that he had with all the with everyone. I still one of my favorite matches I've always seen today is the Monster Brawl match between him and Mankind. Probably one of the greatest matches seen to today. In TNA, he really craved ways in TNA. So I'm excited to be able to get him. And Trey, listen, thank you again. You got us the front row seats too, so
Yes,
we're
I
gonna be
did.
live up all in the action there. So I'm excited to go. Despite everything else that's going on, and what a great time to being right after Thanksgiving as well. So in 2 weeks from 2 weeks from yesterday, we have NFW's little house, little show that they put up. If you want to go, like I said, head on over to nfwwrestling.com and get your tickets now before they sell out. I think they will sell out. I'm hoping they sell out.
And speaking of independent wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
go check out Grim on YouTube. He just had a
Yeah.
very fantastic match. Go check it out on his YouTube channel at
Is that
Grim Story
match
Show.
available on his YouTube channel?
I believe it is.
Okay. Well, maybe you put a TikTok post or a Facebook post on that. Check up on
Yeah.
that and get that out there. I want to watch it. I mean, I know you've been promoting that. It sucks because he's out from in New Jersey.
Yes.
We can't watch it live. I wish we could watch it live. I would love to support the independent circuits. But all right, listen. All right, we're getting into wrestling. Monday Night Raw. Big E is at ringside. Kevin Owens is trying to persuade Big E, hey, listen, I'm sorry for what happened. I didn't mean to, I had no involvement into Seth Rollins interfering. Please forgive me. Big E is like, listen, I'm over it. Let's move on. So Big E's out there watching Seth Rollins because that's his next number one contender opponent, right? So he kind of wants to scope out who's out there. And Big E, and during the match, it was a great match. I mean, it was a 30-minute match, I think.
It's
It was
like
a
30,
really good
45
match.
minutes, yeah.
And the ending, though, after understanding the ending, they're both encountered, in the 10 count. Seth Rollins get back in the ring at count of 9. Kevin Owens goes through and gets counted out because he can't get back in the ring in time. But he has to go through Big E because Big E's standing in the way. So let me ask you this. Let's first I'll start off with this. Did Big E intentionally do it, or was he just in the way?
I think he was just in a way.
I feel like he was just in the way too. I mean, Big E. Remember, he was sitting at ringside with the ring announcers.
Yep.
They took the fight to him. Okay, he got out of the way. He was standing there trying to stay out of the way. I mean, yeah, he could have moved across the ring, you know,
Yep.
outside the ring, but he ended up sitting there and just standing there. And which, I mean, I wouldn't listen. I would do the same thing too. Sometimes you don't have that instinct just to move away. Now, Seth Rollins gets back to the ring in time. They're at the count of 9. Kevin Owens didn't get a chance because he had to go through Big E. Now, I wouldn't say that was Big E's fault, but then what happens after the match? Kevin Owens attacks Big E, costing him, or injuring him. I don't know what level, but ended up where he had to be helped out of backstage. And this is now the heel turn of Kevin Owens, and it was a great match. So the match is not even relevant right now because of what happened afterwards. We knew because we called it and we saw it happen. It was predictable, right? Yet again, formulated, I like to say. It was formulated that Kevin Owens was going to turn on Big E at some point.
Right.
Should have that waited till next week? Maybe. Because
I think
you didn't, for me, you don't need to rush the heel turn right now because you still have to get ready for Big E and Roman Reigns at Survivor Series.
right.
And you still have Seth Rollins and Big E, first of all, before you get to Kevin Owens.
See, me, if I were to book it, we still have to get to Roman Reigns. If Big E kept saying that to Kevin Owens and started listening to what Seth Rollins had to say, which, Seth Rollins pretty much told Big E, hey, Big Kevin Owens past. He turned on multiple tag team partners and friends, and hey, you need to listen to me, Big E. I'm trying to help you out. This is Kevin Owens is going to turn heel on you. Now, right. I would have waited for Kevin Owens to attack Big E, maybe at Survivor Series, costing him the match against Roman.
Okay. So we want to let's take a moment and map things out, because in my opinion, here's what I would take. I would take a different kind of a different turn, to be honest. I would sit there and I would have had Big E address Roman Reigns at the beginning of the show. Okay, I would have Big E say, "Listen, injuring the New Day, injuring my brothers, my family, that's wrong to do. It's going to get personal. It's going to get serious for Survivor Series Roman Reigns." Okay, that's one. After he says that, Kevin Owens comes out still pleading. You know what Big E should be telling him? Big E should be like, and this is if I'm running the storylines. Big E tells Kevin Owens, hey, listen, you want my forgiveness? You beat your match against Seth Rollins tonight. Okay, and I forgive you. Then Kevin Owens loses and continues to plead with Big E and how seriously sorry he is. So maybe Kevin Owens becomes ringside, like a little manager for a few weeks. I would keep this. I wouldn't have him. I would get past Survivor Series and not do anything between the feud. I would allow the feud to stay on Raw because that's where the feud's going to be at. Big E, Roman Reigns at Survivor Series come out the night afterwards. That's when I start getting, okay, well, listen, I've been protecting you for the last couple of weeks. I don't know what else you want from me. Are you going to accept my apology or no? And then he ends up, that's when Kevin Owens attacks.
Bye.
That's just my opinion, because you still, you're trying to, here's the thing, you're trying to separate, you're trying to combine Survivor Series with what's going on with Raw and SmackDown, and that's not happening. You still got to keep those two elements separate from each other. And when I say separate, like I said, Roman Reigns and Big E is set to go to battle. The one thing that they have in common right now is that just this past week, they took out Kofi Kingston 2 weeks ago. They took out Xavier Woods this past Friday, which we'll get into that in a moment. So that's the only thing that you need to get yourself into.
Talking about that, WWE has made this confusing because, they made Seth Rollins do that, ladder match. Seth Rollins wins that number one contender title shot, and
Right.
now Kevin Owens is after him. What's it?
Well, so Kevin Owens is not after him for the title. He's after him because the betrayal. What I would like you said. I mean, for me, nothing's confusing right now for me. I know that Seth Rollins is the new number one contender. He will get a title opportunity after Survivor Series. I know Big E and Roman Reigns is going to go after each other at Survivor Series. The only thing that I am a little complex about is how come you're not stretching this heel turn on Kevin Owens a little longer? It's not needed. You got two things going on right now with Big E and what he has to do. He has to deal with Seth Rollins on Raw. He has to deal with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. He's now also having to deal with Kevin Owens, which is now taking a priority over Seth Rollins. What I would have done is I would continue because it's only 2 weeks away. I wouldn't give Kevin Owens that heel turn until then. I knew it was going to come. I would have just found a way to stretch it out a little longer.
Right.
Because now you come in tomorrow when all eyes should be set on Big E and Roman Reigns. You're still going to come in tomorrow trying to figure out what's going to happen with Seth Rollins and where's Kevin Owens stands at.
I mean, me myself, we all know Kevin Owens is leaving in January.
No, we don't.
Maybe
we can't say that as of yet. I mean, you never know. I mean, I want to keep everything optimistically open.
I pretty much know he's leaving. So if I was WWE, I would try to make him happy and give him a title shot. And maybe I think that's why I think he's turned heel on Big E. But, we'll see.
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, I think you try to keep, especially if he is out the door. Let's say he is out the door come January. You want to give him as much in ring time, make him earn his money, right, and putting him in feuds. The problem is here's that case now. Now you're putting Big Kevin Owens above Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins was the number one contender. If you're gonna have Big Kevin Owens out the door, I would have Kevin Owens win the title match and let him go after it for up until then.
Right.
It would have been a great showdown. But yeah, I think you got a little too many themes going right now for Big E. Once he gets past Roman Reigns on Sunday, I think it will kind of die down a little bit. It would be interesting to see if WWE allows Kevin Owens in that feud to go happen, or if they're going to push for Seth Rollins and to keep Kevin Owens in the background. I don't want WWE to start a feud with Kevin Owens and Big E just to take it away in a couple weeks.
Right.
So, on the other side of things, though, let's look at this: Xavier King Woods versus Roman Reigns. The loser had to bend a knee for their opponent. I think there was a little tease in that, right?
Right.
King Roman. On this case, Kevin Owens. Listen, King Woods won the match. He won the match because the Usos came in to interfered. Roman, and they put him through the table or over the table, let me put it that way. And then on top of that, Roman Reigns did the knee inside the middle of the ring, but he was crowned as the new King Roman. How long? Well, is this going to be an ongoing thing? Is Kevin, I mean, what's the build up for this? I mean, is King Woods the next opponent? Because now, listen, King Woods is in Survivor Series as the 1185. Who's your next opponent for Roman Reigns? That could be King Woods trying to get his crown back. But will this affect, his performance at Survivor Series? There's a lot of opening questions on this.
Now, for me, we know Xavier Woods won that match, and Roman Reigns, I felt was disrespectful for, thinking he won the match or whatever and getting that crown. That shouldn't have happened. But I think I agree with you that I think this is going to lead into a match with Xavier Woods trying to get his crown back.
Right.
And maybe for the championship too.
for talking about making this personal with Big E and Roman Reigns, you're seeing this definitely personal with King Woods, which is fine. That's fine. I want to see. I mean, Woods has really done tremendous in the ring over the last few weeks. He's won the King of the Ring tournament. He's really put on some impressive matches. He faced it on against the Usos. He really held his own against Roman Reigns, and he almost had him beat on Friday up until the Usos interfere in that match. So there's a lot of great things coming out of King Woods. I don't know the extent level of Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston and how long he will be out of action. But I could see this coming up to the day one pay-per-view that's coming up next on January 1st. So possibilities going there. But I don't know. I mean, that means now Xavier Woods has to beat Roman Reigns in order to get back that crown. But
That's true.
On Friday. But do you really see Roman Reigns losing it? And what does this do for King Woods? I mean, because he's been finally persona this, and then the WWE finally gives him the King of the Ring, which he's died for having, and now it's being taken away from him. And do you really see him beating Roman Reigns?
I don't.
Unless Big E and Kofi Kingston come back and help him out and even things up. But there you go. That's what you're talking about, that 6-man tag match there, So anyways, I don't know. I mean, that's confusing. Yet again, I like it. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big fan of wanting to see everything clearly out of a fan perspective, out of the inside of things. I don't want to know what's going to happen, but I just sure hope that whatever does happen is entertaining. Don't get me wrong. Whatever they're doing inside the ring is fantastic. They have some great matches getting put on. It's the storyline coming out of it. Like Kevin Owens attacking Big E because he was disqualified because he couldn't get back in the ring after a 10 count. Yeah, no, that's just poor storyline. Great match, terrible ending to it.
No, King. I'm about to say King Roman. I mean, what Roman did makes me want to tune in Friday to see what's going to happen. I mean, it's definitely a good ending.
Make you want to. I mean, here's the thing. I know that Kevin Owens has a lot of things on his plate, and Big E has a lot of things on his plate with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Shoot, make a sound bit for every time I mess up.
But this isn't the only time.
Hey, Big E has a lot of things going on with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins on Raw. But, at what impact does Big E now address Roman Reigns? Because we saw Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch address each other on SmackDown. And we talked a little bit about that. But let's get back into it because I want to bring up here. We talk about the feud between Becky and Lynch. What next level has to be taken to even build this match bigger? You've already sold me on Survivor Series with this match ever since they traded titles. But I mean, we talked about wanting Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair to go on each other's brand and attack each other. Do we finally see that this week? And why so late? And if it is so late, if this does happen, do we see a brand interfacing with each other? Which I don't. But if we do, is it too late to do it?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it'll be interesting if they do invade each other's, brand. But if they're going to do it, they need to do it right. Now, maybe destroy the announce table, do everything they can to be like, hey, this is my brand, SmackDown. SmackDown's the superior brand. And then when Raw comes to SmackDown, do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little issue. That's an issue I see. For me, it doesn't make sense right now. I mean, you had 4 weeks to build this like that, and still the poor building on this. And I hate to put this down because, I think what WWE doesn't have bad athletes on here. They just don't have very good storytelling when it comes down to it. Like if I was WWE I sit here and tell you, listen, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, every week it's going to get into more intense. Okay, I would then start, having people either have Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville name their 5 on week 1 and then work their way into it. Start invading brands 2 weeks ago. And now
Right.
we're less than 7 days away before they come back and they have to have a match on November 21st.
And they haven't done this. I mean, WWE, resorted to announcing it on social media instead of on the actual show
Right.
itself.
Right.
And
I mean,
me,
I feel
I'm
like,
not okay with
listen,
that.
announcing like RK Bro versus the Usos, that's one thing. Announcing Roman Reigns and Big E, that's one thing. But when you come down and you want to announce the 5 men and 5 women representing each brand, I feel like that's more of an earned opportunity. You shouldn't just
Yep.
name your top 5. People should earn that opportunity to represent the brand, and then you won't have this confusion with why Dominic was even named in the first place if he was going to be put in to that, outcast, and have Bobby Lashley squash him. Why name Aaliyah if you're just going to replace her? Or why even put Sami Zayn? Okay, I understand maybe the Sami Zayn situation because now you have to build that feud, the feud within the own brand. But why do that when everyone has to start working together
Right.
on the, in that sense? I mean, it doesn't that's where it doesn't make sense to me, and that's kind of where you lose me at. But there's still a lot of great matches scheduled to be, be on to be on Survivor Series, which is coming up this Sunday. So
Right.
what's also sucks. We're gonna take a break here, but you had tribute to the troops earlier on today. And I mean, I was like, why is it on at night?
To be honest, I didn't even watch it.
I didn't watch it. I mean, I thought it was supposed to be on at nighttime, like
Right.
8 o'clock. I didn't see any of that at 8 o'clock. I mean, you had football on today. I don't know. We're gonna get back. We're gonna step away. When we come back, we're gonna go ahead and continue talking a little bit more. Wrap up our show. You're in it with us here on the J&J Talk Show for 2 hours. We'll be right back.
만으로도 좋은 상상만으로도 힘든 이중적인 면을 가지고 있어 사랑이라는 걸 oh yeah. Baby can't you come with me can't you hold my hand and leave 근데 있잖아 너라면 다를까 생각이 들어 해볼까 말까 내 다리가 걸어 가는 방향이 어딘지 서로 궁금해져 버려 I'll be saved by rock and roll. You can take my money, steal my car and sell my clothes. You can take the shoes I'm in, go on and take everything. You can have about everything I own.
Welcome back here on the J&J Talk Show, 2-hour episodes as we head to the end of our program. And Trey, let's get you right back in here. I want to kind of read off some final things here for our show. We're finishing up here celebrating the life of and the career of the late great Eddie Guerrero as we spend the last 2 hours celebrating his life in the late passing 16th anniversary of his passing. Let me just read you some highlights. Two-time ECW Television Champion, two-time WCW Cruiserweight Champion, WCW United States Champion, WWE Champion, European Champion, U.S. Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion. He is the 11th Triple Crown Champion, the 6th Grand Slam Champion as well.
Wow.
He was also inducted to the 2006 WWE Hall of Fame, the 2008 AAA Hall of Fame, and the Class of 15 Hardcore Hall of Fame as well. What a decorated athlete he was overall. Final stories on him?
Yeah, I mean, this is a kind of a sad one, but like when they did the tribute to him after he passed away, you could genuinely feel and see all the emotion on the impact he had on each one of those wrestlers, and I think that was one of the best tributes that WWE's ever done.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the first big tributes WWE's ever done. Not only he was a beloved person in WWE and all the other, I know Ring of Honor, OVW, and TNA's did stuff around. Everyone honored him in a special way, and to see today, people still honoring him the way that he was honored 16 years ago is still so remembering, still so heartbreaking. And people still, still mourn over his loss.
I no, I saw yesterday from Brock Lesnar himself. He put out that he thinks about Eddie Guerrero every single day, and that really shows you an impact that he had on Brock Lesnar's life.
Wow.
And I respect that.
And to think of guys like, Chris Jericho, who paid tributes in their matches last night at Full Gear, also paying tributes over on SmackDown. I don't know if anyone paid tributes to them. I mean, I know maybe Sasha Banks did something. I think the Lucha Bros did the Three Amigos in Pentagon. Pentagon Junior. He did the Three Amigos with the suplex, right? So great tributes for him as well.
And this is going to be the last thing I say about him. May he rest in peace.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, come next year, we'll pay another 17th anniversary tribute to his passing. So Eddie Guerrero will never be forgotten. Always remembered. A great athlete, great person, great outside the ring. He brought a lot of entertainment to friends and family as well wherever he went around. So Eddie Guerrero celebrating his 16th anniversary of his passing away. All right, so listen, WrestleMania coming up here. In the WrestleMania coming up here next year. Tickets went on sale. Any quick matches that you want to see coming up at WrestleMania?
Like you've been saying, and we both been talking about the 4 horsewomen. That'd be so awesome. Maybe have a title on the line or 2 titles on the line. I mean, they don't even need a title for that match.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need a title for the match, but I mean, it's a great way to get Bailey back into the mix of things. I know it continues the feud between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Like I said, we don't know the status on her, contract wise, what they're going to do with her. Sasha Banks. I know this is something that WWE's wanted to do in quite some time. So I feel like this next few months is a perfect setup for them. Now, whether or not they utilize this next few months to set up with that, that's a whole nother issue. But I would like to see that. But what about things like Dominic and Rey Mysterio?
That'd be awesome as well. Maybe put a stipulation on that match. Maybe Dominic,
Career.
Dominic wins. Rey Mysterio retires, or Rey Mysterio Dominic wins. He gets his mask.
I I,
No,
I I mean, I definitely agree with your point, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't see WWE letting Rey Mysterio remove his mask. But anything could happen on that as well. What about Okay, so here's a big one. Will Taker have one more match
if Taker had one more match.
just in
Mm,
front of fans? Because last year it was in front of fans. It was the cinematic, which was great, but never that
hmm.
one more walk off into the sunset.
And the thing is, if Undertaker's gonna do this, he needs to
Do it
have a
early,
match that the other superstar is gonna benefit from it.
right?
No, no,
Well,
such
I
as
mean,
no, such as Brock Lesnar. He ended his streak.
mm,
I don't agree with that. You know,
right. Well,
AJ
maybe what about
Styles.
bringing back the Brothers of Destruction one last time for the feud? I
And,
mean, that way you don't have to have them carry a whole match.
and who would they face? Is there any tag teams that is?
Maybe the bloodline. Maybe I mean, what about? I don't know. I mean, I'm throwing it out there. We're spitballing early. If you guys have a match that you guys want to see at WrestleMania, leave a comment down below. Maybe it's interesting
There's
stuff.
two
Um,
matches I want to see.
what is it?
Um, I'm gonna do the first one first. I think they need to do Edge versus
Roman
AJ
and Rock,
Styles.
Edge versus AJ Styles. Yeah.
My second match has to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock.
Yeah, I don't know about that quite yet. I know you guys are talking about pushing into Hollywood. I say push it now, maybe make it a whole year thing. But we'll see. We'll see how that comes
Eh,
up about it. It does take. Okay, last question. Does Taker become a two night part of the 2 night WrestleMania? Is it all about Undertaker, or are
I
you just
mean,
gonna give him that 15 minute thing?
he deserves it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say no. He deserves it, but I don't see WWE doing it. As
I'm
a
not saying
fan,
WWE will let him doing it. I say Vince McMahon lets him do it. You know
as a
how close
fan,
they are with each other? You
but
know how close Vince McMahon and Undertaker are with each other? Vince McMahon will make it happen if that's what Taker allows it to happen.
I mean, as a fan, I did not like his retirement
People forgot
segment
about it.
at
It was terrible.
exactly, and he needs to
Terrible.
have a proper send off.
Right?
And what a way it is
Absolutely.
to do at his show.
Hmm. No, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you there. Um, but anyways, that kind of starts wrapping up our show here on this 2 hour episode. Listen, we got NWF Pro Wrestling coming up, right? That's coming up here in 2 weeks from tomorrow, last night. We're gonna be there, front row seats. I'm excited for that to happen. We also got Survivor Series this Sunday as well. We'll be back again this coming up Sunday as well to talk about it. Yes, Trey, you'll be back with me. That means you can't watch Survivor Series, or you have to have it on mute.
We're gonna have to do the talk show at a different
We'll
time
talk
because
about
I
it.
have company.
I don't have a different time. So you're gonna submit me for an hour, 2 hours alone.
I don't know how that's gonna work.
You're gonna leave me. You're gonna leave me
Maybe I'll
high and
send
dry.
an hour video. How's that?
I can't implement 1 hour viewing. We'll figure something out. I'm complexing over a Saturday evening show instead of a Sunday to make all that fit. Like I said, also I got a special Thanksgiving special 2-hour Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day episode as well for you. So if you guys want to tune in there, please hit that like, share, subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Anything else, Trey?
Yeah, you might see this beautiful face on Thanksgiving morning. You might need a bunch of coffee for that.
Oh man, we may need to put a plaster up for you.
Yeah,
Plaster up for your face. It's gonna crack the screen.
exactly. Especially that early in the morning.
You know what I'm gonna get you for Christmas? I'm gonna get you that little neck thing to support your neck.
I need that.
You would totally compare to that. Well, that's all the time for us that we have for you on our show today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave us a like, share, subscribe down below. Tune us out on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the social media accounts, as well as Spotify as well. Until next time, you guys have yourself a wonderful Sunday evening.
Have a good night.